what I would offer up is on behalf of the fans,
Mhm.
right? You know how we open up tonight's Major League Baseball season streaming on Netflix. I have a problem with that. Streaming?
Really? Why is that,
Yeah,
man?
because I'm old. All right.
I mean,
You
but
know,
see, but see, OG,
I
OG.
remember it was when it was free.
I get it.
Okay.
I get it.
So I have a problem with that. I think it does a disservice to your generation too. You shouldn't have to be looking on Netflix. You know, that's a chick movie night,
But
not a
listen,
baseball opening night.
but here's the thing, OG, the world is changing. It's not 1986 anymore. It's 2026. And listen, I'm young still, but I'm old at heart. And I get it. There was a charm for it being free on television and being able to be accessible by a wide audience. But there is no wide audience anymore. Everybody's, the audience is kind of diluted and separated at everywhere. Streaming here, this here, live here, YouTube there, the YouTube here. Like it's all over the place. And one of the things that we always criticize baseball, right? They're still too stuck in the olden ways. They don't modernize the game. They don't modernize their approach. They don't market the game. Well, now they have an opportunity to reach a global audience. Like Netflix is global. They're doing this with a global mindset. This
Anything
is not
online
just
is global though.
but I understand, but Netflix is the biggest streaming platform in the world. Outside of YouTube. So this is a good move for Major League Baseball. This is them saying, listen, we hear it, we understand. And while, listen, this sport has roots in older culture, we are embracing 2026 and beyond. And we're making this a deal with Netflix. This is not an every game situation. It's one game, a solo platform for them to have an audience for
It's a
themselves.
lot of games though.
I don't know how
Everything's
anybody can,
online.
but I don't know how anybody can complain about this. We're always talking about how baseball doesn't get with the times, and then they finally get with the times, and it was like, well, no, not that way.
It's just tough to feel as
I get
though,
it.
and
I get it.
and again, I grew up black and white TV, having to get
Yep.
out. There was no remote. I
Yep.
understand how that is. I
Yep.
understand where you're coming
Yep.
from. But that being said, since teams are adding more money onto the fans by
Mm-hmm.
creating their own streaming platforms, I know in my area, there's the network that covers the American League team
Right.
that is offering up something, I think $19 a month or something like that, for you to have streaming rights exclusively to all their games. Then what am I playing for cable for? You know what I'm saying? And if the
Yeah.
team is bad, Manny,
Yeah.
here's my point. I get where you're coming from as far as the times is concerned, but if it's going to become a overpriced revenue stream for struggling franchises who have sucked historically for
Mhm.
decades, I got a
Yep.
problem with that. I think you should be refunded if your team does not finish at least 500.
Well, yeah, I mean, listen, you have a good idea, but at the end of the day, we all know we live in a capitalistic society, so it's all about the money, right? And what is the biggest issue plaguing, or one of the major issues plaguing baseball right now, is the RSN deals failing everywhere, unless you're a big market team. So a lot of these cable companies and a lot of these RSN deals are falling apart because cable as a whole is a dying model, or at least a reduced model of the way television works. So I think that these organizations, these companies, these leagues have to start smartening up and saying, okay, the traditional model of RSNs where you have 120, 25 games on your Sportsnets this or your Fox Sports that or your Bally Sports this, that model no longer exists. I mean, you've seen how many teams is Major League Baseball now taking up the broadcasting rights for? I think it's like 12 or 13 teams, something like that. I don't have the exact number, but it's in that range. It's like the landscape of television as a whole is changing, and I think that you have to adapt with the times. And if you're baseball, you have to be at the forefront of it because if not, you're going to be left behind. So, listen, I get it's not a perfect model. I get everything costs money these days. I mean, the price of gas is going up to $6 in some places. So I get it. It's hurting everybody's pockets, but that's just the way it is right now, and it's unfortunate.
And there are going to be a lot of people that the game is going to price itself out of in terms of developing a younger fan base. I think a lot of people are missing that, and we're not talking about. I'm talking about your kids who would
Yeah.
be like I would be pop up for, right?
But here's the thing, OG. My kids don't watch television. Like the Gen Alpha generation, they don't
Mm-hmm.
watch TV. They don't watch TV like you and I. They don't run
So
home
so
after
what you're
school
saying is
and
the
turn on
streaming.
channel 11 or turn on channel 7 or turn on cable for whatever, like Cartoon Network. They're not doing that. They're on YouTube and they're on Netflix. They're on Disney Plus. They're on Roku. They're on these streaming. Like that's where the younger generation is, and that's what we got to start understanding. They're on Netflix. They're not on, they're not on regular television. Then my kids know Netflix. They don't know Comcast. They don't know Cablevision. They don't know. Like I'm just being real. Like that, my kids don't watch television. And I feel like I can speak on this because I have a 12-year-old son who's into sports. He's not watching regular traditional television. What is he doing? He's catching the highlights on YouTube and he's watching Netflix. And I feel like this is baseball's answer to that of saying, okay, we hear y'all. Y'all say we got to reach a younger audience. Well, this is an attempt. An attempt. We'll find out if financially down the road if it's a successful attempt. But this is at least an attempt for them to branch out and reach not only a younger audience but a global audience. And we'll see we'll see if it works.
That is the man ram, my partner in crime, Manny Brown from MLBBro.com, as we talk about how I still think fans are getting fleeced. And I will grant you everything that you just stated in your previous soliloquy, only to get to this.
Yeah.
Okay. When you have a cable or satellite package where you're paying already for your local market games, right? And then you have the regional carrier or the team itself who probably owns the regional carrier charging you extra to have streaming access to games. And if your team sucks, you're wasting a lot of money. So are you saying that we should have a consumer continue to gamble on a bad product? Or should there be some provisions there where if you don't, it's like this, if you don't pay your bill, you don't get to see the team play. But if you pay your bill and the team sucks and you still, I mean, where's the reciprocation there?
I get it, OG, but when have these sports entities have ever been reciprocative to the fans? They haven't, right? Like, you know how much money I've dropped all these years living in Seattle, following my beloved Mets on MLB.tv? Thousands of dollars, and they've never refunded me for all the bad years. The Mets collapsed last year. You think they refunded me for the $100 some odd dollars?
Because you didn't speak up. I'm speaking for your pain.
I could do it as a tax write-off. You know what I'm saying? I could do it as a tax write-off. But because I work in the industry. You know what I mean? So I could do it as a tax write-off. But I get it. You know what I'm saying? I understand. It's not a perfect model. And listen, at the end of the day, it's capitalism, right? And capitalism, the very nature of capitalism is there's winners and there's losers. There is no in between. There's winners and there's losers. And we know which category the fans fall in under. So it just is what it is.
That is so wrong, yet it is so right. It really
so wrong, yet so right.
It is. It really. Manny Brown from MLBBro.com. We are getting set up for what should be a most interesting season. But let me get your thoughts on the collective bargaining agreement. First off, do you think they will get one ratified? And if they don't, does it become DEFCON 1?
I don't think they will get one ratified, but I don't think it will be DEFCON 1. Maybe DEFCON 2, 2.5. Listen, at the end of the day, I think there's certain non-starters, right? I think that the league is going to want, the owners are going to want a salary cap, and that's just not going to be a non-starter. And even if the players are willing to give you a salary cap, what are you going to give them to sweeten the pot? What are you going to give the players that is going to make it worth their while to implement a salary cap? See, everybody keeps screaming salary cap, salary cap, salary cap. But how are you planning on implementing this? How do you grandfather certain teams like the Mets who are paying Juan Soto $700 million? Well, how does he get grandfathered into the salary cap? How does that work? Do you have an amnesty clause? Do you there's just so many different parameters that I just don't think you'll be able to solve in one offseason. So I just don't think that's a starter. And also, what are the players getting in return? What shorter shorter time to be free agent? Are players going to be free agent after 4 years? I don't see that happening. I don't see the owners caving into that. So I just don't. In order for you to get, you got to give, and I just don't know what the owners can give the players that is going to make them want to say, "Listen, we'll take a salary cap." So I think at the end of the day, it's going to be similar to how it was in 2022. I think we'll miss a lot of games in spring training. I think there'll be a lot of fighting, a lot of back and forth. But I think at the end of the day, baseball is on a hot streak right now. For all the problems we talk about, baseball is the most popular it's been in about 15 to 20 years. And
now that we will agree on.
And I think that the owners and the players understand this. And I also think that when push comes to shove, a lot of things will be said. A lot of mudslinging will be thrown on both sides. But I think dollars speak more than anything else. And I just don't think they'll be willing to jeopardize that.
And I hope that what you're saying is true specifically on the owner's side because they have all the leverage now. I mean, who's really negotiating for the players?
That's true.
I
That's
mean that's major in
yeah,
this
that is a big
whole
one.
scenario, and we don't know how much coaching up he can do from the bench, if you will, in order to help
And
this process
and
move
and one
move along.
And one
But
thing to take in mind right there too, right? When we talking about the players, right? Everybody always thinks when we talk about the players, we think about the Max Scherzers, the superstars, the
mhm,
guys that are making the millions of dollars. But what about
Shohei
the guy on the
Ohtani.
bottom, the rank and file player? Those are the ones that broke the picket line the last time. And I think it's going to be the same thing. I think the 27th man on a roster who's making league minimum, he's going to be like, "Well, we're missing games. I'm not doing that." So I think I don't
Yeah,
think
but
this
he
is going to
can't
be
show
the
up
DEF CON.
when the union players in mass aren't there. They're not gonna
Yeah.
you're not gonna get baseball fan to buy into what they see on the
Mhm.
outskirts of town. Because
Yeah.
I know in between Baltimore and Washington, there's Bowie where the Bay Sox play, which is an
Hmm.
Orioles AA affiliate, and then
Yeah.
you go right across into Virginia, and you
Yeah.
got the same type of scenario. I don't think
Yeah.
you're gonna bring those guys up and play
No.
them in the new version of
No.
Orioles Park at Camden Yards or at
No.
Nationals Park, and that's going to fly with a sophisticated enough sports fan base that can read the okey doke.
I
Because you
agree.
can't, you may be able to okey doke the players, you can't okey doke the fans.
No. No.
Okay.
No. And again, baseball needs to learn that lesson. They go down this road again. They almost never came back from the first time. I don't think they want to do it again. So I think cooler heads will prevail at the end of the day. But it'll be a while though. It'll be a while.
Well, I see. I hope you're wrong. I really do. And let's come back on the other side and talk a little bit more about the better things going on in baseball right now. Like who is that dude? Can the Dodgers make it a three-peat?
Hmm.
And a whole lot more. That is Man Ram, Manny Brown, my partner in crime from MLBBro.com. It's your boy, Professor G. Mark Gray. It's OG Sports Rap on the network and Substack. Don't forget, download the mobile app. We all we got. And we're going to break it down for you. Listen to us. You'll have a winning season.
Let's
Holla
do it.
back. And all right. How about that? Got that cut right there in the moment. All right. Let me pause it. In three, two, one. Along with my partner in crime from MLBBro.com, the man Ram, Manny Ramirez Brown. I am Mark Gray. It is OG Sports Rap on the network and Substack. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. All right, Manny. The 800-pound gorilla in the room going into the season is it about the Dodgers and that $750 million salary cap that they have?
Yep.
Uh who can slay them? And I'll ask you this with my hypothesis being it's going to be extremely difficult because of the amount of mileage that they've gotten as a team. They're
Yeah.
older. They've
Yeah.
played a lot of games in postseason over the last 3 years. So when you look at them on paper, if they're healthy, I still think they're the team to beat. But the older car don't run the way it used to.
Yeah, yeah. Listen, I think at the end of the day, I think you have to make the Dodgers the favorite. I mean, how could you? They're the two-time defending World Series champion. But I think if you were a betting man, I think you still have to take the field, right? Like, for all the talk about the Dodgers being this dominant team, let's face it. In 2024, they were against the ropes against the Padres. If the Padres don't forget how to hit in that division series, we may not even be here right now having this conversation. And then
True.
last year, it took Miguel Rojas and Jeff Hoffman throwing a butterfly slider in the middle of the plate, and we're having a different conversation, right? So I think at the end of the day, for as great and as dominant as the Dodgers have been, I think they haven't just been this runaway freight train that has just demolished everybody in the postseason and they've left no doubt. I think the nature of baseball is that it doesn't matter how good or dominant that you are. At the end of the day, if you run into a hot team, a hot pitcher, or an offense that is gelling at all cylinders, you can be beat. And I think the Dodgers on two occasions have almost faced death. And so I think that at the end of the day, while you still make them the favorite, you still have have to take the field because all it takes is one injury, one team getting hot, and we have a different situation. So I still think the Dodgers are the favorite, but I don't think this is this overwhelming favorite that you basically just sit there and say, call me in October 28th when the NBA when the World Series starts.
All right, so talk to me about what you think about Otani, because it's clear that he's been doing his Major League Baseball research.
Yep.
He's openly admitted he'd like to do some of the stuff that Babe Ruth has done.
Yep.
I mean, he's shown the potential, at least based upon what we look analytically, because it's hard to compare the two generations when you got so many different variables going on. But what do you make of that phenomenon? Do you think that there's a next level gear that Otani has?
It's scary to think about that. Like we haven't even seen the best of Otani. I think we've arguably seen the best of Otani as a hitter, but there's probably another gear that he could even go as a starting pitcher. Like we haven't really seen the best of Otani as a starting pitcher yet, where he's going 7, 8 innings, being a Paul Skeens like type of pitcher, where you step on the mound and he can dominate. And I think that if he can get to that gear as a starter, I mean, he's a cheat code. I mean, he's already a cheat code, arguably. So yeah, Otani's the best thing to happen to baseball in a long, long time, man, because he's riveting television. I mean, you want to see him, you want to see his at bats, you want to see how he does on the mound. I mean, that game had against the Brewers, that is one of the greatest athletic performances we've seen in the 21st century. Like, I don't even know how you argue that. I mean, to hit 3 home runs and dominate the way he did on the mound. I mean, I just listen. I'm not an Otani hater. Yes, he gets a lot of glaze, as the youth says, but
As he should.
but as he should, man, he's an incredible talent. He is one of one.
Yeah, he's, I would have loved to have seen things play all the way out for Bo Jackson,
Yeah.
but I don't think Bo Jackson would have ever pitched.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
No.
So it is it is from an OG.
And mind you, Babe Ruth was 120 something years ago. Like who
yeah,
he's around to can attest to that. And Babe Ruth wasn't throwing 99 and
no,
in
he
exit
wasn't,
velos
and it
of
wasn't falling off the table.
Like it's crazy, man. It's just crazy.
So let me get your thoughts quickly on how about the Cyclops coming to the strike zone where you got electronics dictating what's a ball and strike and the appeal for that. I know you like the innovation that technology is having on the game, but there's some things I think you should hold sacred. And one of them is the call at the plate. Now, if you want to challenge it, that's cool. But I thought there was some discrepancy unfairly, if you will, during the World Baseball Classic. I think that last pitch in one of those USA games was indeed a strike, and it was right inside the zone. I'm not quite sure people understand how to read it yet.
How about the Perdomo at bat? You could argue that was a ball and they called it a strike. Listen, listen. Balls and strikes is a thing that I don't think anybody's ever going to get truly right. I am an advocate for technology. I want to get the calls right. Everybody likes the rule of man and everybody likes the traditional aspect of balls and strikes until it costs your team a game, until it costs your team a World Series, until it costs your team. I mean, go talk to a Giants fan about Wilmer Flores at bat a couple years ago in the division. They may have a different take on ABS systems and robotoms. Look, at the end of the day,
let me just be one who was a heartbroken Orioles fan when this little jerk named what's his name, Jeffrey Mayer
exactly
decided he was going to take a out from Tony Tarasco.
There you go. Listen, at the end of the day,
over that. It bothers me today.
Okay? Listen, I feel you. Listen, at the end of the day, I'm for anything that makes the game better. And if the ABS system, and I think it will in the long run, it'll be clunky at first. Give it some time. It's new technology. It's not going to be 100% out of the box perfect. But I think if you give it some time and you implement it the best way and people get used to it, I think it will be a good thing for the game. We got to get these calls right, especially balls and strikes. And listen, we're always complaining that baseball never modernizes itself. What is the chief complaint we've heard for years and decades? Baseball's too stuck in their ways. Baseball's afraid to modernize. Well, listen, the pitch clock, everybody complained. And the pitch clock has been the greatest thing that has happened to the game since, I don't know,
and
since
when they
TV.
rescinded the shift.
Exactly. And the shift.
Yeah,
I was against the shift because I don't feel like defensively, I don't feel like you should be able to legislate that. Right. You don't tell Bill Belichick where to line his linebackers. You don't tell.
Why are you going to use him as an example?
Yeah, it's probably not good.
They're blurred lines with his.
Probably not a good example right now.
No, that's not the one.
But nah, man, I'm for anything that modernizes the game and speeds the game up and makes the product overall better. And I feel like the ABS system and robot umps are going to do that. Now it's going to take some time. It's going to be a little clunky, but I think it's going to be better. And I think at the end of the day, we all just want the calls to be called right.
Manny Brown from MLBBro.com, my partner in crime on Debatable as we continue to move it along here. It's OG Sports Rap on the network. So, when it comes to MVP votes, bruh, are we talking about Ohtani and the field? Who do you have?
Yeah, I listen, selfishly as a Mets fan, I'm gonna put in Juan Soto into the conversation. He's already outwardly talked about he's coming for Ohtani in the MVP race. But listen, I think you have to make Ohtani the favorite in the National League. I mean, until that guy suffers a career altering injury, I don't think that
He
there's
did,
anyone
but he
stopping
pitched
he
through it.
exactly yeah, exactly
I
exactly
mean, it's
exactly
like, oh,
exactly.
debilitating injury, come back
Exactly.
from it.
Unless he's
We've seen
now,
that
and
before,
what I mean
dog.
career altering is he's no longer on the field hitting 50 home runs. Listen, I think you have to take Ohtani versus the field on this one. I think as long as he's healthy and is able and willing and putting up his normal production, I think Ohtani will be in the MVP conversation. But I don't think it's a runaway freight train. I do think Soto has a chance. I think there's a couple others that have a chance in the National League, but I think I definitely think it's Ohtani.
All right, man. Now, speaking as a selfish closet, all right, I'm coming out the closet.
Uh-oh.
I'm a I'm an Oriole fan, and I want to know what I'm getting in Pete Alonso.
Ah, yeah, y'all stole Pete, man.
Did we
it's still a,
steal him, or did you let him walk?
we gave him away. We gave him
Okay,
away. That's
and
right.
why would
That's
you do that?
listen. I think that the Mets, specifically David Stearns, doesn't value the Pete Alonso type, which is kind of a lumbering, burly type of first baseman. They feel like for that type of money that Pete Alonso was trying to command, that money is better used elsewhere. Now we'll see if that's the right decision or the wrong decision. Only time
Wow.
will tell. I love Pete Alonso. I think he's an anchor in the middle of your lineup. Do I think he's an Aaron Judge? Do I think he's an Ohtani? Do I even think he's a Juan Soto? No, he's not. But he's the guy that is the Robin to the guy. And I think that on this Orioles team, I think he brings a presence. I think he brings a gamer mentality. I think he's a guy in that clubhouse that'll bring a kind of a winning kind of a effort mentality. He's just like he's a polar bear. He's a lovable polar bear. He's the Coca-Cola polar bear. You know what I mean? I just
Okay.
want to hug Pete sometimes. And I think he brings I think he brings that kind of oafish charm to the Orioles. And I think he's a guy who's played in the postseason, had big at bats, has strived in New York, the biggest pressure cooker in the sport. So I think he brings that to the Orioles, a team that's young, that still needs kind of that veteran influence to teach those guys. So I think in the long run, Pete will be a good addition to the Orioles. He may get off to a slow start because it's that tends to be the case with guys coming in on a new contract to a new location. But I think if Orioles fans are patient, I think Pete Alonso will be a player that I think Orioles fans will love. Listen, he's not going to make or break the season. What's going to make the Orioles season is their pitching staff,
Pitching.
not Pete
Yes.
Alonso hitting 50 home runs or 30
Nope.
home runs.
Because he could hit 50 home runs. And with the question marks on that pitching staff, bro,
Absolutely.
I mean,
Absolutely. Yeah.
his 50 home runs could be dwarfed. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
for sure.
Because the opposite team could hit 100 off their pitching staff
Facts.
potentially. Now,
Right.
again, we go into the regular season trying to be super most wonderful objective. That's the best I can go with it.
Yeah.
Can't feel like
Listen, the Orioles
it's
got
going
a
to be an
chance, man.
immediate
Everything that could have
turnaround.
went wrong for that team went wrong last year. So you got to believe that the ball, law of averages would tell you Gunnar Henderson's going to be better this year. Adley Rushing is not all of a sudden didn't forget how to play baseball, so he's going to bounce back. And then you add a Pete Alonso. They've made some good moves. I think they should have added another frontline starter, but we'll see. That's someone that you possibly could acquire in the deadline. So I think the Orioles will have a chance to surprise a lot of people in the American League.
Wow, giving me false hope, but I appreciate it
I mean, listen, I'm a Mets fan, man.
nonetheless.
What else is new?
So what?
I live
But you out
with
there in the throes of the Mariners. What a great year it was, except
yeah.
for the fact that they didn't win the World Series.
Yep.
I mean, other than that, tremendous turnaround. What's the confidence level that they can get back to where they were at the end of last season, coming into this one?
Well, I think the confidence level is high. I mean, you have that pitching staff first and foremost. That pitching staff, when healthy, is the best in the sport. I mean, you got a George Kirby, you got a Logan Gilbert, you got all the guys, Luis Castillo, you got all the guys that are anchoring that staff, and then you have those two aircraft carriers in the lineup in Julio Rodriguez and Cal Raleigh, and then you throw in you throw in my man Randy Rosarina. I think they've got the makings of a good lineup. And the sneaky move of the offseason is the Brandon Donovan trade. He's a guy, he's a do-it-all, kind of super sub, could play second base, can play third base, outfield. He could do a little bit all. I think he'll help that team. Listen, the Mariners, they have a lot of pressure on them, but I think last year, especially getting over the Houston Astros hump, finally winning the division, getting so close to tasting a World Series, that I think the Mariners will be there this year. A lot of pressure, but I think they're ready to answer that bell.
Is Seattle ready to come up with a new dance? You know, remember how we had the Macarena? Can we have the Rosarena?
The Rosarena,
Yeah.
listen,
I
and maybe
mean,
some of the Seahawks charm will rub off on the Mariners, you know?
something like that. I mean, what
Yeah,
is it like
exactly.
to be in a Super Bowl town now? You got another chip.
I mean, I'm not a fan of the Seahawks or the Mariners, so it doesn't really affect me. I mean, it just makes me more jealous. It makes me more jealous that my New York teams, especially the Jets, it's been since the LBJ administration since the Jets have won a Super Bowl. So yeah, it just
Tell the truth, Manny.
makes
I
me
mean,
very sad.
because most of the time when it comes to you Jets fans, it's your parents' fault. You had nothing to do with like growing and morphing into a Jets fan. Your parents put you in front of the TV as they were watching the likes of Richard Todd
Uh-huh.
fail
No,
miserably,
it
and
actually
that
wasn't.
infected you, didn't it?
It actually wasn't even family ties. My family was mostly Giants fans. I just
Okay.
had a really, I had a one of my favorite teachers was a Jets
Oh,
fan,
defiant
right?
child with broken heart. Yes.
Yeah, so one of my favorite teachers in elementary school was a Jets fan, and so he would always come in with Jets gear. And when you're in those formative years where you're looking for a team to root for, you just kind of gravitate naturally to whatever you see or something that catches your eye. And it just Jets colors, Jets uniforms, Jets just caught my eyes. And I was like, I'm not gonna root for the Giants. So I was like, ah. I was kind of a contrarian kid, if you don't notice. So most of my
No,
family was Yankee
really?
fans. I was a Met fan. Most of my family is Jets fan or Giants fan. I'm a Jets fan. And then I'm a Lakers fan in basketball. So yeah,
Well, I mean, depending on what. Well, you know, they had several good eras. I'm a Laker fan from the Magic era. I'm sure you do. You're down with Kobe.
yes, sir.
God rest
Absolutely.
his soul.
God
Anyway,
rest his soul.
that is the man, Manny Ramirez Brown. You make sure you check us out on MLBBro.com with
Yes,
Debatable.
yes.
And I'm sure from time to time we will get together and wax philosophical here on the network
Yeah,
and
just hit
on
my line,
Substack.
man. I'm definitely down for sure.
Talk to you real soon, my friend. You take care of yourself.
Yes, sir. Peace out,
I
brother.
got more of what you came here for on the other side. It's OG Sports Rap on the network and Substack. Remember, download the mobile app. We all we got. Uh, and that is a wrap.
Perfect. Quick and easy.